Hey folks. Oh, I keep doing this by mistake. Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Starcraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. I'm the Serious JG. It's time for us to dip into the evolution pit and see if we can make our roaches better. See, I thought we might... the reason I didn't end the last video already here is because I thought we might go straight into a talk with Abathur, but apparently not quite yet. Let's manually select him.
Placed parasite into Protoss host.
Sweet.
Yes. What about it?
Clever. Lateral thinking. Protoss not able to be infested, but can still be host to foreign organisms.
This is a distinction you're going to have to unpack for me.
Parasite unknown.
I made it, Abathur. You're not the only one who can spin sequences.
Hey, how does that make you feel, buddy?
Will continue work.
How does that make you feel? I'm better at your job than you are, dick. Alright, now for the evolution mission.
Roach strain ready for augmentation. Protoss research facilities discovered. Experiments within useful to evolve swarm. Must acquire. Destroy Protoss. Improve swarm.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. So we got the corpse strain. They laugh during a acting performance. They break up and start laughing when they're supposed to be delivering serious lines. They're corpsers. The corpsers, a ranged assault unit, attack infests enemies. Once killed, 2 roachlings erupt from the enemy's corpse. I seem to remember that. Maybe they're. It sounds like it would be useful, but I feel like they weren't. And then Vile Strain. Ranged assault unit attacks slow enemy movement speed and attack speed. That actually sounds really good. They both sound good. Neither of them are really... Both of them are better than just a vanilla Roach. But the Corpser is going to, gradually creates what I think are basically like timed life Zergling type enemies. Whereas the Vile Strain, I don't know how long it effect lasts, but I think I recall that generally the Vile Strain is favored. But let's start the mission. Oh, and this is the great little snot baby here for our what's his name? Geiger? Who is the guy who did the sort of the monster art that they used as the basis of Alien? That guy has been ripped off a lot over the years. But we can burrow and unburrow injured roaches to force the enemy to switch targets. That's a level of microing I almost never bother to do, but I should be doing it. It's very useful.
Kantar, concealed Protoss facility.
I can't figure out where the Protoss facility is.
Many Protoss specimens. Captive Scantipede is virulent parasite.
Oh, there's like a little puppy over there to the left.
Why don't we let it out to play?
Come out to play! Yeah, the Protoss have to stop collecting animals that are super useful to the Zerg.
Implants parasites into host. Erupt from corpse. Essence must be ours. Protoss must not destroy.
Okay. It's got 2 kills. Okay, I thought it was working for us for a minute. It's got 2 kills. Rank recruit. Can we kill you for some bioessence? Oh, we just murdered that animal, but that serves no purpose. Oh, there's a male Ursa deck. Okay. It's hostile. I thought we were maybe protecting it. I wasn't...
Essence acquired. Roaches modified with parasitic sequence.
Even the burrowed one?
Corpser strain. Implants roachling parasite. Erupts from enemy's corpse.
Push forward. Leave no survivors.
So they're doing 16 damage, range of 4, speed 2. Okay.
Let the roachlings attack the enemy first.
Okay, so they are melee. Alright, so the roachlings are not really little roaches, because roaches are ranged, and the roachlings are... They're basically quasi-zerglings. They're melee, they're fast, they don't have a lot of life, but they have... I mean, it's kind of cool. But I would think that, like, these missions they set up for them always make them look as, like, are in circumstances to make them look as good as they're possibly going to look. We've got enemies coming in piecemeal. We're not really fighting a full-size Protoss force. And we wouldn't have that many roachlings to play with
Centipede essence secure.
against a small number of immortals or a small number of, you know, whatever. And of course they'd be worthless against air units. Although, so will whatever the other Roach evolution is.
Environment used to guide evolution.
So that seems like a really cool one, like kind of neat looking, but probably not as useful as slowing them down.
Microbial organisms reproduce within pools. Generations of roaches ordered to consume. Most organs seize up, die. Survivors adapted, formed symbiotic bond with microbes. New strain, vile roach, ready for command.
I sense Protoss forces nearby. Let's see these new roaches in combat.
Vile strain. Acid saliva coats enemy. Slows movement. Slows attacks.
I feel like the ones that make little roachlings would be good against large groups of weak enemies. Like, I could see it being good against other Zerg forces, although we never fight. My memory of this, I could be wrong. There must be at least one point where we're fighting another Zerg host to bring them under Kerrigan's control, but there's not a lot of missions where it's Zerg versus Zerg. I would think that might be good against other Zerg, because it's the enemy units are weak, so they're going to attack in number, and every one of them you kill is going to give you 2 little roachlings temporarily. Whereas against big, hard-hitting enemies, where you're going to need to outnumber them to win, like a whole bunch of roaches against a couple of those walker enemies, or these immortals, these like armor dudes, then something that you slow them down, because you're not going to kill them quickly, but it's going to take you a while, the slowdown would be super useful. Slows attack and movement speed by 75%. Heroic units are slowed by 20%. That seems awesome to me. So yeah, the real question is, are you having trouble overwhelming large groups of weak enemies? Or are you having overwhelming small to medium-sized groups of powerful enemies? And as the Zerg, I think you're always worried about units that are tougher than you are. Which would be fought using the Vile strain.
Unresponsive. Cannot attack.
Probably overthinking things here, but I don't think this burrowing is necessary, but it's going to help us survive in greater numbers. It is how roaches are meant to fight. I thought they could move while burrowed. I guess that's not in the campaign, though. Or it's something you can unlock for them in the evolution pit or whatever, the roach den, that we don't have here.
Additional roaches arriving now.
Yeah, somebody needs to hit that Colossus early, because that'll be... There's multiple Colossi. I still doubt roaches are ever going to be really strong against Colossi. But having a few roaches in an attack group that are just hitting enemies to slow them down, I could see that being super useful. But yeah, these evolutions are always beneficial. Hydralisks have an evolution that you... like... It works like lurkers. Like, you make Hydra, and then the Hydra can evolve, but don't have to evolve into this other form. Anything where it's like it changes the unit in such a way that it might not even be good at what the unit originally did, those will be optional. But anything where it's like roaches are just... You build roaches, they'll automatically have vile or parasitic strain. It's always to the benefit. Oh, these are the new guys. You guys over here have a couple kills each. Okay.
Abominations! Difficult to move.
You see, our little roachling guys wouldn't have been as useful there. They just would have been instantly wiped out by the area of effect attack those guys have.
Sequences. Returning to evolution pit.
So the ones that make roachlings they look kind of cool in battle, but I think these would be more effective ultimately. So the corpse restraint. Enemies damaged by the roach will spawn 2 roachlings if killed quickly. Or Bile Strain. Attack slow enemy movement speed and by 75%. Doesn't really say how long that lasts, but I think it's more useful. Let's go Bile Strain.
Evolution complete.
Yeah, close in the camera on you guys while the others presumably die horrible deaths. Sadly, we will have a choice at one point to evolve lurkers or something other than lurkers. And even though I think I got lurkers last time, I'm under the impression the one that is similar to but different from lurkers and is not called lurkers is actually better. Similarly with Mutalisks, we'll eventually choose between evolving a really weird and interesting unit that shows up in the single player or the multiplayer world as a thing that you can build, or something called Broodlords, which are kind of like the closest this game has to Guardians. And I would go Guardians, and then I think Ultralisks you have. Eventually we get a choice between what they call the Tauresk. It's named after the plot monster from Brood War, which are Ultralisks that I think they can come back to life with a timed countdown. And these weird area of effect ones that... I got the area of effect ones, but apparently the smart money is on the ones that come back to life, because they just have a ton of resiliency if you're microing properly. But again, it's always to the benefit. So even if I chose the wrong upgrade for any of these, it's never actually hurting anything. And plus 8 damage versus light, an increase of 80%. Plus 3 armor. Move at full speed while burrowed. I think we still probably want the one that does increase damage. Although, now that they're slowing enemies down, having their survivability increased, these two are both good. All these are good. I think we'll stick with the extra damage one, though. Oh, that's right, but we could also check up on... Get info on Vile, yes. Attack slow movement speed. But eventually, I'm sure we will get a lovely mission all about having better... See, now we got a little vile Roach over here. But eventually we'll get a lovely mission all about... oh, and I think before we had 2 different Roaches to look at. Interesting. Eventually we'll get a mission all about evolving our Hydralisks. But for now, let's see what happens if we are given the chance to travel. Is that Zeratul's ship? I think that's Zeratul's ship. He's stalking us. And I thought the Stalkers were a variation on the Dragoons. Maybe he'll stop by to say hello.
Zeratul.
Oh, you're not looking as pretty as you were with Zerg bits. You know, she's done a lot of shit too, Zeratul. I don't know... I don't remember what he's done to make her angry. But she, like, took over the mind of his matriarch, and he was forced to kill her because of it. There it is. I mean, wait.
You want
To get beaten up by you? Remember.
Kerrigan, I have been to the beginning.
That's right, he had weird visions in the last game.
Xeras, birthplace of the Zerg. Here the Zerg evolved, and here the Dark One altered them. Those left behind are the primal.
I wonder who the Dark One is going to be. Is he the boss of Malaria? Does he live at the power station, the Dark One?
They fight.
For the WWE Championship at WrestleMania.
Kill.
They absorb essence?
They evolve.
Really quickly. They just start having eyes popping out all over the place. Wild Zerg.
Just as you must. If you survive.
Anyway, it was nice to see you. And then he just like poofs out of existence? What? Yeah, Zeratul is basically Protoss Spooky Man. So now we have a choice. CHAR.
CHAR has long been home to the swarm's primary hive cluster in the Kaprulu sector.
It's a pretty cool
Zerg
place. I
and
like it a
Terran
lot.
factions vie for control of the planet. To reunite the swarm, you will need to reconquer CHAR. Your first opponent will be the renegade broodmother Zagara. She will not surrender her brood to you without a fight.
Mm-hmm. But this is where we go to get Baneling, suicide units. Like a beloved and useful unit in multiplayer, but never one I've been good at using. And then aberrations, which are heavy frontline assault units, deal extra damage to armored foes, can walk over smaller units, whatever. I'm much more interested, although it's supposed to be a harder planet, because it came up later as an option, in Xeras.
Xeras, birth world of the Zerg. It lies far beyond the Kaprulu sector, where no Terran has ventured.
What a bunch of losers.
Go to that ancient place, Kerrigan. Learn its secrets and take its power.
Anyway, now I'm like your advisor, I guess, somehow, even though I'm supposed to hate you. Whatever. But it gives us swarm hosts, which are kind of a weird thing. There's no equivalent that I can think of in the original Starcraft. Because it's... well, it's weird. I'd say it's like a sunken colony that can move around, but this game already has those. It's a weird sort of mobile siege unit for the Zerg, I guess. But it's also good on defense. And then Mutalisks, which I am eager to get. They are flying units. They are one of the most overpowered units in all of StarCraft. They're expensive to buy in mass, and you need them in mass for them to be effective, but massed mutalisks are incredibly effective. So that's it. That's what we got to figure out next time, is where do we want to go first? And the game's not actually going to let us get out of here without picking one. Which is interesting, because I thought we would have that option. So I think we're going to... Well, I saved, so I can back out of it, but I think we get a whole bunch of Kerrigan levels on CHAR. I mean, sorry, on Xeris. And although it was an unusual approach, like there was all sorts of weird, constraints that with this person that I was watching play the game on YouTube was imposing on themselves. They went to Xeris first because it makes Kerrigan very powerful, which makes CHAR pretty easy. And I don't imagine that to beat CHAR, we're going to get a whole lot of Xeris. I don't think we'll get much use out of the Banelings or the Aberrations. So if I'm going purely based on what units I want, I definitely want me some Mutalisks. And since it looks... I was going to make it the cliffhanger, but it looks like it's going to make me choose. So let's see if we can go to Xeris. And if it's a disaster, it is a... technically, CHAR and the Ice Planet we just finished were both available from Jump, which means you'd think they're the easiest planet, whichever one is 1, the other one is 2. But let's see if we can jump ahead and do Xeris. And if Xeris will turn and tell us what's going on, since he was the one who just showed up and told us let's go to Xeris. Or rather than we should go to Xeris, excuse me. Yeah, he is. He's still hanging out with us. He's our buddy. He's our new best friend forever. Xeris.
The power of Xeris called you here.
That's who I am.
Mink's dead called me here. These Zerg will help me destroy Core Hall.
You
Whatever.
must let Xeris remake you, Kerrigan. The final war nears, and there is little time.
Don't tell her that weird shit. She's already on the path to doing what you wanted.
I will not be a pawn in
Yeah,
your
you started
prophecies.
telling her about prophecies. She was already doing what you wanted.
Do anything to have your revenge.
Anything.
Then that is
Yeah,
enough.
exactly. Alright, looks like we're on the same page. Cool beans. I guess now that we're here, we might as well have the conversations. What's going on with your ship? Why am I not talking to it? Because I clicked on
You
it.
have more cause to hate me than most.
Yeah, he really does.
Naga wish you restored as the leader of the swarm.
Leader of the
You know I
swarm.
don't believe in your bad prophecies.
Your belief is not required.
Yep.
I act for the greater good, though it earns me the hatred of my own people.
Just think of me as,
Everyone has to make peace with their own choices.
oh god, I had a great joke and I lost it.
My peace long ago. When we are done here, I will return to my people and accept their judgment.
We all have to pay for our actions someday. I guess your day is almost
Yeah,
here.
you're gonna have a lot to pay for, Kerrigan. No, the hilarious joke was he said, I do what I must do for the greater good, although it earns me the hatred of my people. And I wanted to say, oh, just like Liz Cheney, but I blanked on Elizabeth Cheney's first name. I was like, Cheney, the Cheney lady, Dick Cheney's daughter. So it would have been so funny if I'd been timely, but I wasn't, so. Glowing orange eyes, that's always a good sign.
I'm looking through the eyes of my overlords. These primal Zerg are fascinating. They show no signs of
Oh,
age,
they have hair coloring in facelifts,
All
ma'am.
organisms age, even Zerg.
but the primals feed off the essence of individuals. They're in a state of constant evolution. They don't
They're the
die.
evolution
Until they are
revolution.
killed by another primal.
Yep, she's right.
True. The most successful hunters among them must be incredibly ancient and incredibly dangerous.
The female of the species is more dangerous. I guess we're not really moving in that direction, though. Oh, I haven't gained... continue playing to unlock the next evolution mission, but we can chat with Abathur. He must be super excited to be amongst these primal Zerg.
What do you think of the primals?
Boring, dumb.
Dynamic, varied, interesting, messy, unsuccessful.
They're like
I thought you'd
English
like them.
majors.
As individuals, they constantly evolve to be more efficient.
She's mad that he doesn't feel the way that she thought he would.
Primal Zerg, reactionary, improvised. Some good sequences can steal. Swarm, efficient, careful improvements, successful.
Whatever, though. Not really that... There's not that into it, what can I say? Let's see what the missions are... Or mission
The
is.
primal Zerg are disturbed by our
They
presence.
just think we're a bunch of weirdos.
They gather even now, preparing to destroy us.
So our bonus objective reward is 3 Kerrigan levels. There doesn't appear to be any just default award just for even attempting the mission, but we'll get mutas. And who could ask for anything more? When we come back next time, guys, unless it's such a disaster that I don't even post the video and instead go back to do CHAR first, we will be attempting the first mission of Xeris, the primal homeworld of the original Zerg, before the Xel'Naga did whatever the Xel'Naga did. I get confused by the Starcraft lore, because I don't pay as much attention as I should. Some of this was discussed in, I guess it was Zeratul flashback missions from Wings of Liberty? So I might have to go back and look at my own LP to remember. But yeah, somehow, some way, the end war that's coming involves a dark force that has manipulated both the Zerg and, I believe, the Protoss. So we're getting our first glimpse of what the Zerg are before whatever weirdness was done to them was done. And it could be interesting. It might not. Your mileage may vary. All I know is I'm excited because next time we're going to get access to Mutalisks. See you then.